Hi friends, I hope you are all doing well. This is Miss Kelly from the preschool and I wanted to read you a story today. My friends and I have been learning about animals that live in a pond or near a pond. I want you to think to yourself and see if you can name out loud or to someone else in the room the name of an animal that lives in a pond or near a pond. Did you say turtle, frog, fish, snail? Those are just a few of the many animals that call the pond their home. The story I want to read to you today is called Norman the Slug with the Silly Shell. Look at his shell and see if you can figure out what Norman is using for a shell. This story was written by Sue Hendra. Norman the Slug thought snails were great. Wow, said Norman, look at them. They are amazing. How many snails do you see over here? Can you count with me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There are 11 snails. But unfortunately, the snails didn't think Norman was great. Whee! And crash. Norman, you silly slug, they cried. You've spoiled our fun. This only works if you've got a shell. Norman felt left out. Sadly, he sulked off into the moonlight. Do you see him right here in the moonlight? If only I had a shell of my own, he sighed, looking at his reflection. And that's when he had an idea. Maybe I could have a shell after all, he thought. But finding a shell was not as easy as it seemed. One was too bouncy. Say out loud what it is. One was too noisy. Say out loud what it is. And one was already taken. Do you see the worm inside of the apple? Norman needed time to think. Can you think of something you could use as a shell? Ta-da! A shell. It was perfect. Norman had never been happier. He could join the snails at last. Norman loved being a snail, and the snails loved Norman's silly shell. Do you see Norman right here in the middle of all the snails? But the fun did not last for long. Suddenly there was a loud flapping of wings. Look out! Bird! Cried the snails in panic. Quick, slither for your lives or we'll end up as supper. But the bird was more interested in Norman's silly shell. It looked delicious. Norman was being carried up, up, and away, higher and higher into the sky. What could he do? Look at his expression. Does he look sad? Does he look surprised? Does he look scared? Does he look happy? Say out loud how you think Norman is feeling right now. Norman did the only thing a slug could do. He made slime and lots of it. With a slither and a slother, a slip and a slide, Norman was free. But he was falling. Do you see his shell over here and Norman right here? He was falling faster and faster and faster until plonk. Norman, are you okay? Asked the snails. Wow, said Norman. That was great. I love flying. If only I had wings. Ta-da! Norman, at the end of the story, figured out how to fly by making wings. What would you use to make wings? What would you use to make a shell? I hope you enjoyed the story about Norman the slug with the silly shell. And I will see you again soon when I come to read you a new story. Goodbye, friends.